Hi, welcome to HeKate's Crossing. Now today we're going to look at tarot familiars. I bought this yesterday. I've had a play and I've put some posts on Instagram and Twitter, and so you can sort of see those that are available. So what I wanted to do is actually share my thoughts. When I saw tarot familiars, I actually thought that every card would have animals on them on some level. I was a little disappointed when I first opened it and realised that it was just going to be the familiars on the major arcana, and the 4 suits are related to a particular familiar. So, in saying that, I opened the box and the little white book, of course. Now, I'm a little bit... find it a little untidy in some way, in that they've made the book that size, but then you open it and you've actually got to go through, and of course English is not first, but it sort of feels a bit mucky, if you like. So, and the writing is so tiny, it's like really hard to read. So it's about trying to sort of find, and actually, and my eyesight's so bad that I had to use a magnifying glass to actually read through. Now, the meanings are based on the Rider-Waite-Smith, but I find them a little bit too much, maybe? I don't know. Some people may love this, the little white book, but for me, I think because I've been reading tarot for so long, I have my own messages that sort of come through, so I've sort of put the little white book aside. Some people may love it. The messages, I mean, they're kind of cute. They're kind of, there's some quite good info in the book. There's a really good spread. It's a Celtic cross, but it has an extra card, and it does give you some tips and things if you're just learning tarot. Really cool. Now, in saying that, now, I did tell you that the minor arcana are not animal-based at all. Okay, there's no animals on them at all, except for the court cards and the aces. So, let me just very quickly go through, and you've got the court cards here, so you can sort of see that the cats are for the wands, okay, the ravens for the swords, owls for the cups, and wolves for the pentacles. Okay, so that'll give you an idea anyway. So there's your ace pentacles with your wolf on it. Okay, there's your ace of wands with your cat. There's your ace with the owl. So there you see the 3 of swords. So it doesn't really, whoops, wrong way. It doesn't really tell you a story as such. So you really do have to know the basic keywords. So I don't know whether I would call it, I wouldn't do this as like an intuitive deck in regards to the minor arcana. Okay, this is more about understanding the basic keywords, I think, for that. Or understanding numerology with the suits. I think that would be really an important aspect. So just going through, so there you have the world with the owl on it. Here's this famous cat reading the cards with judgment. And you can actually see the betrayal card, the heartbroken card here, the 3 of swords. And it's quite different. The images are quite right away, of course, in here. So here you have knave of wands cat. Okay, wands. Now, one thing I do like about this is the animal cards do lend itself to using your intuition a little bit more. in regards to looking at, say, the door with the key. You look at the Knave of Swords, it's about, he's got this young guy, he's a truth seeker. So what's he going to do? He's going to unlock the door, he's going to walk over the threshold. So those sort of things can lend itself to a little bit more, I'm sorry, I've got a hair on my mouth, for a little bit more intuition, a little bit more working with the imagery. You've got the Knave of Cups, you've got this L. Okay, and Knave of L's, or Knave of Cups, is about your emotions and about being easily wounded. And you see that he's got pathway, he's got choices, decisions to walk along on the path. So it can lend itself to a little bit more reflection, if you like. You've got the Ace of Swords, the Raven. So he's looking for clarity, situation. King of Cups, you've got this guy who doesn't, you know, he's good at giving advice, maybe he's sort of emotional. He's caring and he's quite generous, but he doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. So you've got this King of Swords, you've got this guy, he's a deep thinker, he can be quite logical, quite a planner, he's got faith, he believes in himself, you know, he's got this inner strength, if you like, inner mental strength. King of Wands, he's got this guy, he's sort of quite, I feel like he's quite lazy in a way, but yet he's got these ideas, he's an entrepreneur, he's got these business ideas, and he's like, yeah, let's do this, but let's delegate and tell everybody else to do it, and I'll just sit here and rule, sort of thing. He's a bit of a, I want to call him like an advisor, a delegator, a boss. You know, he's a little bit like the Emperor in lots of ways, except he has this playful side to him. He's a bit of fun, he's passionate, you know. So you can sort of see how, once you understand a little bit about the basic words within the tarot, the basic keywords, you'll start to really understand these cards and where they're coming from. And the more I work with them, the more I love them. I've done a reading yesterday for my daughter, just a little bit of a look-see to see, you know, what sort of messages. And the more I looked at them, the more things that came out. And she sort of looked at me like, no, you know, but, you know, as a daughter would with a mother, when a mother starts sort of looking into the cards, you know, I ask, what do I need to know? Not, you know, what is, I don't want to be too nosy. I don't want to know too much about my daughter just yet. So anyway, here you have the Queen of Pentacles. So she's sort of nurturing, she's caring for those that are less fortunate, maybe someone who's not well, who's sick. But she's also this businesswoman, you know, she's got this practical side to her, very much about health and finances. So you can sort of see how the cards really do lend themselves to, once you understand the keywords. And I think the imagery is very well, the artistry is beautiful. They're very clear, they're very, there's a lot of colour in the, you know, there's quite a bit of colour in it. They're quite, you know exactly, the owls are cups, the wolves are pentacles, the cats are wands. You know, it really lends themselves to, there's this Queen of Wands, you know, and she's a bit of fun, she's friendship, she'll listen, she knows when to sort of keep silent, she's very supportive, she's non-judgmental. So you can sort of see that about this character when you really sort of start to look at the cards. So overall, yes, I was initially disappointed to see that the minor arcana didn't have animals on them, but the more I work with them, the more I realise that when they're actually in a larger spread, they're actually better not being so cluttered with all the different kinds of animals that are available, because it lends itself to really clear and concise messages. For me, anyway. I mean, I have worked with other animal decks, and I've found sometimes with so many animals, you're trying to think, oh, what does that animal mean? What does that animal mean? You know, what's all this about? What's all that? This is really quite clear and quite concise, because the animals keep to a minimum. Is basically those 4 animals with the minor arcana. And of course you've got them throughout the majors as well. But what I do love is occasionally she'll throw in, for the major arcana, a little bit more. Well, that's the wolf for the strength, which I think is really nice. Now you've got the chariot, and she's used the unicorn in that mystical creature. And I love the chariot's about, for me, is about this contemplation. There's a pause. There's like, yep, okay, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. Right, let's take action and let's move. This triumph, victorious, success. I'm going to achieve because I'm clear about where I'm going. Right, King. Oh, the devil. Now, I love this as a devil card. It's not the traditional Rider-Waite imagery at all. It's it really lends itself to change of the past, abusive, a sense of bad habits, repeated patterns. Maybe there's this energy about it that keeps pulling you back in. Maybe it's a sexual relationship on some level. A drink, could be just factors you're a workaholic. I mean, it depends what other cards are coming up in the reading, of course, but I actually love the imagery of this because it's so gentle in a way, but there's this fierceness about it. For the Emperor, the stag, this power house, sort of, he fights for his kingdom, he fights for his rule. He it can be lonely at the top. He sort of demands his attention. He demands for people to pay attention to him. He's this pride sort of stag. He's quite out there and that. Here you've got this cat for the Wheel of Fortune. He's got an Ouija board, which I thought was really interesting in regards to destiny and fate. So I thought that was quite cool, and alternative paths. Which path are you going to actually take? There's life's ups and downs. There's a need to accept that sometimes we have ups, sometimes we have downs, but what changes can you actually make? What can you control? What can stop you from going round and round in circles so that you feel stagnant? All those things are in the card, but it's understanding that. The Hermit, the light, the wisdom, the knowledge, the solitude, the silence. He's just staring out the window. He's in silence. He's looking. He's finding wisdom in just being through meditation and reflection. He's learnt through maybe reading or just being through experience. The Fool with a pack of cards I thought was really cool. It's all in the cards. So he's starting out this journey. He just doesn't know quite where to go. He's unsure. Maybe he's feeling a bit like, oh yeah, everything will be a-okay. I trust that everything's going to be all okay. I'll just lie here and enjoy, It's quite different. It's quite a unique sort of Fool card. He's not on a cliff. He's not with a dog. He's not, So it's sort of, I feel like there is this new beginning. He's a student of life. There are those basic keywords in here. He's a spirit of just freedom, and he's just like, yeah, let's just enjoy and relax and enjoy. Doesn't matter, in life it's just about freedom, and there's just no worries, and life will be okay. I'll just lie here and just enjoy the day. Here we have the Hierophant. Now this is interesting. We've got a cat, and he's learning from the owl. The owl's teaching. He's sharing his knowledge. He has wisdom. He's being reflective with the moon energies, and he's talking about cycles and phases and what's going on, and what's your faith, and faith changes, and beliefs can vary at times, and what do you take from life as from your own experience. So all these things are in the card. I just love the Tower is also not too scary, or this is a very gentle deck. This I think would be a really good deck for when you're working with a lot of people. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't want to take your goth or your decks that are a bit heavy or a bit sexual, or this has got sort of a real gentleness to it, which I really love. And you can sort of really do your own interpretations, just sort of your own remembering from your Rider-Waite Smith or your your traditional tarot, you know, what words do you normally use? For the Tower, it's about what's been exiled from your life, what's shaky, what's wobbly, what's causing you to have enlightenment, a new understanding, knowing that you can rebuild what you've created. You know, all those things are really, really important. So you got the Moon here, which I absolutely love. This rabbit, you know, he's reflective, he's contemplating, he's unafraid, he's really faced his fears, he's just sitting out there in the open, and he's just like, yay, you know, this is amazing, this is the energy of the Moon, and I just want to love and just be in it and just be reflective and contemplate and face my fears, you know, I don't have to worry, all those things are there. You got this cat with this Justice, which I think is really cool. So he's like legalities and, you know, things being legal and, you know, what's create balance, equilibrium, all that's going on, and what actions are being taken in regards to your consequence, you know, knowing that there's going to be consequences for the actions that you actually take. So you're thinking really carefully about what actions you're going to actually take. So here you go. So been through a few of the cards. I really like this animal deck in it being that it's not too overly animal. Once I actually started to do a spread and actually look at the cards, I actually realised I really like the fact of it not being too many animals in the picture. It actually makes it really clear, really clean messages. So the back's really nice. I'm not sure. I sort of find, I mean, and it's a really nice small deck, and that it's really easy to shuffle. I mean, I always shuffle like this. It's just me. I mean, I know there's lots of people who shuffle this way. The deck, I don't feel the cards are that thick. They're actually quite thin. So you might want to respect your deck. Take care of it. Put it in a bag. Put it in a box. You know, wrap it in a scarf. Whatever you want to do. It's up to you. A little disappointed in the layout of the book. There is some good information in here. There is a good spread. There are some good meanings if you're learning tarot and you have picked this up, not realizing that it's not all animals all the way through it, and it is non-scenic tip minors. So you may struggle a little bit if you are trying to read intuitive. So I would suggest if you're going to take the little white book, memorize maybe 2 or 3 keywords only. So rewrite them out into a journal. And remember the 2 or 3 keywords per card to start with. And I think the more you work with it, the more you'll understand more meanings, more understandings, but it will take, it will take some time. Work through the deck slowly. I think the spread that she's included in here is actually quite complex. So you might just want to start with a daily card or maybe 2 cards. For a beginning of a reading, a yin and yang energy, so what's your masculine energy and your feminine energy of the day. You could do 3 cards, I would say, but the 11 card spread, I would wait, I think, until you've got a bit more au fait with the card, unless you're going to write it out for your journal and take your time and just look at each card as an individual and with the meaning of the context, because I find it is a little bit complexity. There's a bit of complex in the spread, but for an advanced reader, this is absolutely an awesome deck to work with. If you just want a deck that's with animals, it's a bit more gentle. It's quite easy to read once you know your basic tarot meanings, whatever they are for you. I mean, you can either use a little white book or just use your own. Totally up to you, of course. Overall, I love the energy of the deck. I think that's what drew me 2 or 3 weeks ago. I went into the shop, into King of Swords in Napier, and actually went in there and actually was like, yeah, this is the deck I want. But I'd already bought the Circle of Life, so I knew that I had to wait. Because I wanted to work with that for a little while. And then I thought, right, okay, so let's have a look here. And it was still in there, so I grabbed it. And loved the energy of the deck. Even though I was a little bit disappointed with the imagery to begin with, the more I work with it, the more I love it. So sometimes with a deck, it can take a little bit of time to sort of connect. So give yourself a little bit of time. Don't go, oh, I don't like the imagery straight away. Give it a chance to sort of work with it. Find the balance within self. See if you can read with it. I find now that I'm reading with, I can just about pick up any deck and read with it. I mean, that's not a problem. It's just the fact is you got to really like the imagery, you got to like the energy of the artist, the author, and I quite like the fact is that she's used different colours on the suits, of course, which makes it really easy when you're sort of looking, when you're glancing at the deck, the borders are different colours, so that makes it really easy when you're doing a reading. You can sort of see all the swords, all the pentacles, all the cups, all the wands. You can see them straight away. The animals give that sort of feel to that. Wands is that playful, like a little kitten, sort of, a cat is playful. That wolf is quite mental, that intellect. Then you've got the birds, and the wolf's quite, swords, it's more pentacles, sorry. The wolf's are pentacles, and you've got that whole sense of logic. They're quite logical, what I should say. Birds are more mental, more thoughts. And then you've got the owls being wise, emotions with the cups. I mean, owls could lend themselves to the swords as well. I feel like this could be a little bit of overlapping with some of the mental thoughts, but the mental thoughts do affect our emotions, so they sort of do correspond in some way. I would like to see, I think, a companion book, maybe with a little bit more in-depth look at the mages and the courts, maybe, and a little bit behind the artist's thoughts and about each character and why she chose the elf or the ace of cups and why does it look like that and what's actually going on. It's quite interesting to look. That's why I love companion books, because they sort of share a bit more in depth in regards to the cards. Anyway, that's my waffle. Oh my god, that's nearly 23 minutes in regards to the tarot familiars. Take care and blessed be. From HeKate's Crossing with the Tarot Familiars by Lisa Parker.